Hello, my dears. Welcome back here for our Monad family meetings. Today we're going to go ahead and bring it back old school and do a 3-card reading. So for those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Sitara. I did 3-card readings on this channel for almost 3 years, very close to 3 years. So if you go back and look at some of the older stuff, you'll see a whole library of 3-card readings. So these ones here, this is the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. This is one of my favorites. I had a little doggo that got to the corner of those. So what I would love for you to do is to take a minute to ground in, anchor into the centeredness within your own heart, and set your intention. What is the clarity? What is a specific insight that you would like some clarity on? The really fun thing about doing these readings is that we connect into the collective field together. So you can simply receive a general reading, no problem there. Or you can simply set the intention, your relationship space, your career space, what's going on with a particular situation or circumstance. Whatever feels resonant for you, go ahead and take a moment to get clear on what that is. And if nothing comes to mind, all good. Just simply sit back and receive a general reading to offer you some clarity in some of the momentum that you will be building for yourself. And I just have a ton of light codes coming through me right now. So as I pick these cards, there we go. As I pick these cards, I'm going to go ahead and share some codes. So let's take a big deep breath and open the reading space. As we call in divine truth and love into the sacred space, we invoke the highest possible healing for each and every viewer, replayer, and myself. We ask for the courage and compassion to speak and to hear from the purest form of self-love and forgiveness to all involved. Yo siatarai ianaka ia kultoro onaka haaksutoro kuriatarai iana haakasutorkia aha opunkuraki trikia. Yo siatarai. All right, so as those codes came through, I felt and heard a very clear prayer about open-heartedness. So adding a theme to this, you have already chosen your question or intention, but as we add a theme to this, it's about open-heartedness. So where in your life do you feel that you're not opening your heart, either because you're afraid, past pain is coming up, maybe resistance to circumstances that have taken place before? Whatever it is and whatever you're feeling in that way, go ahead and bring it to the surface. Allow it to be seen, allow it to be witnessed, allow it to be felt. And let's go ahead and pull this first card. All right, so the first card that we have here is breathe. So let's take a nice big deep breath together. In through the nose, very gently releasing, softening the chest area, softening your heart, softening your rib cage. The message that I'm getting is like all in divine knowing. So whatever it is that you're fighting, whatever it is that you have resistance to, whatever it is that you're battling inside, is actually the key that's going to open that particular part within your heart that is feeling closed or is feeling resistant or is feeling not willing to open. So as you breathe into that, let's take a moment. You can rub your hands together. And the reason that I say to rub your hands together before we put our hands on our body is because it opens your palm chakras. It starts to get energy moving. So if we're talking about healing, we're talking about rearranging a composition of our own energetic field. What we want to do is get really clear on how to activate your palm chakras, how to activate and start moving energy through your field in a really easy, gentle, and beautiful way. So we all have a healing hand, we have a receiving hand, and we have a giving hand. So just kind of gently, let's just go into this, why not? Go ahead and just gently pay attention to both of your hands. And you'll see that one is receiving energy and one is giving. Or you could put your hands together and you can see how the energy naturally flows. The circle through your arms, through your heart, through your shoulders, back around through your arms. There's a loop of energy that's moving. And as you feel that energy looping, you might be able to notice where you have some blockages, or where maybe some energy is really thin, or where one hand is cycling more energy than the other, indicating a bit of an imbalance. So the left side of our body is associated with our feminine energy, our maternal energy, our mother energy, and the right side of our body is associated with masculine, male energy, father energy. So if you're really used to being in your masculine, chances are that your right side of your body is your dominant side. If you're not very used to being in your feminine, then chances are that your left side is not your dominant side. So as we feel into the way the energy is moving through your hands, I want you to go ahead and take your giving hand. For me, that's my right. My right is the one that moves energy, that pushes energy. My left is the one that receives. So when it comes to psychometry, or picking up things, items, and being able to feel energy from it, or also like if I'm touching somebody or feeling their energy, my left hand will be what reads the energy that's stuck in a knot if I'm giving a massage, or, and I'm not a massage therapist, but in some ways we store that emotion, or we store that energy inside of our body. And so emotionally, it turns into a knot, it turns into a constriction. And so your receiving hand is generally the hand that will be able to, so psychometry is a psychic ability. It's the ability to pick up an item and to be able to, like, let's say for instance, someone picked up my keys and they didn't know that they were mine. But they were able to hold them in their left hand. They would be able to pick up the energy that is associated with the keys. They may see my energy. They may see my family's energy, because my family, it's a car that's been in my family. So there's also, that's just one example. I personally love this one going into thrift stores or antique stores. I find it really fun to play with psychometry in that way. So anyway, that's a little tangent. But when you're feeling your heart, so you want to put your giving hand on your heart and feel the places inside of your heart. Like if you have walls around your heart, if you have any sort of blocks or any sort of guards, if you're holding on to grudges or memories or experiences of betrayal, anything along those lines, go ahead and just feel that. But your giving hand is giving love. It's giving, maybe it's giving fire to burn them down. Maybe it's giving tidal waves. Maybe it's giving just a sparkly gold light that starts to transmute and break up the densities of these guards or these barriers. Because I can assure you, the barricades and the blocks that are keeping you from actually receiving what it is that you want and what it is that you're calling in are coming from blocks in your heart. So it is up to you, it's your responsibility to give yourself permission to release those blocks in your heart. Right? And so now go ahead and place your left hand on your heart and feel the difference. And depending for you, whether your left hand or your right hand is your giving or receiving hand, tune in to how energy is moving out. So for me with this, because my left is my, it's my receiving hand, I almost feel like there's a vacuum of energy that my left hand is actually pulling out the blocks, or it's pulling out the constrictions. So just kind of play with that. Notice what you notice. And again, the card here is breathe. So it's just taking a gentle inventory of where you're at and what is going on in your inner world that isn't allowing what it is that you're calling in, or that is activated in the confusion that you may have, recognizing that you are also playing a role in evoking that confusion. All right, beautiful. The next card we have is the here and now. I absolutely love this. So this is an encouragement of staying in presence, staying in the absolute present moment, being with what is arising. The indication of this card is to not be in the past and to not be in the future. So if what you've experienced in the past has created heart blocks, or it's created this fear of trusting in yourself, a fear of trusting in the universe, a fear of trusting what's in front of you, a fear of trusting who's in front of you, whatever the circumstance may be, this card is telling you, forget about what's taken place. And if you can, heal it, release it, let those guards down, that it's safe for you to open your heart, because your open heart is a magnet for miracles. So as you connect to the absolute present moment, without projecting fear into the future, without projecting what could potentially happen, without projecting any of this like inconsistency or incongruency, or you're like, oftentimes we project a fear of what has happened onto a future that hasn't occurred yet and can sabotage that from taking place. So that's what these two cards are indicating. It's breathe, it's to slow down, pay attention. Where is your mind looping, and where is your mind trying to find the problems? Where is your mind scanning for what could possibly go wrong? Whereas then here in the here and now, the absolute present moment, you get to activate yourself in very, very clear understanding and very clear awareness of what it is that's taking place for you in your world and in your life, and how you can shift into a new state of being by allowing yourself to heal, by being in the present moment, to change the stories, to change the loop, to change the pattern. And when you release what's going on in your inner world, you'll actually notice, because remember in yesterday's talk, we chatted about the law of resonance. It's not necessarily the law of attraction, it's the law of resonance, that the universe is going to give you what you feel resonant to, or where your vibrational frequency is resonating. So allowing that to come to you, and allowing it to be gentle, and allowing it to be easy. Now here's our third card, and this is the one that really jumped out. And I love jumpers. Some readers don't use jumpers. I personally really like them, because for me it's an indicator that they're right there, right on target. So then we have this card, no place like home. And let's take a moment and feel into, what does the word home mean to you? What does the word home mean to you? When I was displaced for a couple years in Bali during the pandemic, that word meant so much. That word meant so much more than I ever in a million years thought that it would. I learned to find home inside of my own heart, because nothing was familiar. My family was gone. I was moving houses because during the pandemic there was so much open availability for villas and whatnot. So I kept moving place to place, and it was a very, very beautiful experience. But you know, if our groundedness, if what is consistent for us, what is familiar to us becomes our home, then what happens when we're not there? You know, there's a redefinition. So that's why I said, feel into what the word home means to you. And so we have breathe, here and now, and no place like home. So what I'm seeing with this is that there's a greater capacity for you to be in the safety of your own heart as you allow your heart to be open, as you allow your heart to experience what your heart wants to experience, what your heart's yearning to experience. And really it can be, of course, with any transition or anything that you're creating right now. If your heart is not in it, it's not worth, this is my opinion, take it with a grain of salt, but if your heart's not in it, it's not worth participating. You know, what's the point? So if you can allow yourself to be open, and if you can allow yourself to be scared, and if you can allow yourself to be courageous by changing the patterns from what it is that you've experienced in the past, then the likelihood of you being able to create a very beautiful and rich future based on what you have learned, rather than imprinting the pain from the past onto the future that hasn't happened yet. This is how we master our energy. This is what we focus on in Rise. It's how do we harness and cultivate such a great sense of self-awareness that we can catch it when we are participating in the co-creation of a pattern that has not served us. So when you give yourself the spaciousness to see how things can be different by being aware, wildly aware of what's there for you in the present, and also how you're participating in either your constriction or your expansion, then you become the one that opens the door to new changes and a breath of fresh air, really. You get to change the pattern because you are the co-creator of your reality. So with that, I encourage you to take out the journal, especially since we talked so much about scribing and automatic writing and all of that yesterday. I encourage you to take out your journal and really write down so that you can see in front of yourself what were the aha moments that you had for yourself through this transmission, through this reading. What came through for you that you know is something that you can shift, something that you can change? And I also encourage you, go ahead and journal. See if Rise is the right program for you that's going to help you overcome these feelings of being blocked or these feelings of watching the same pattern repeat. Go ahead and see if there's support or a group that's going to help you really become your best self by harnessing and honing in on, one, what your natural intuitive abilities are, and two, by means of how it is that you can overcome whatever challenges are in front of you and how to become a decision-making master. Do you trust yourself in the decisions that you make? Do you trust yourself in what it is that you're calling in? Do you trust yourself in your capabilities of being a co-creator in your world and in your life? Well, let's turn that trust up wherever it is now. Let's turn that trust up to unwavering confidence and unwavering faith that you are here to explore something so much greater than yourself and participate in something so much greater than yourself, that you find the depths of your own fulfillment and that you find the depths of your own certainty and you find the depths of the embodiment of your soul purpose, the embodiment of your higher self. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me in this call today. I appreciate your presence and all your likes and your shares and your comments and your support to help me grow this channel so that we can share the good word with all of our brothers and sisters that are also finding that light within themselves with unwavering faith and confidence to experience the world we live in with an open heart and an open mind. So with that, my sweet love, I hope this served you well. Of course, if you're interested in Rise, find me on Instagram, sitara.speaks, SITARA.speaks, and send me the word Rise. You can find me there and we'll get the conversation started, and I can see how I can help support you in embodying your full potential and support in embodying your higher self. So that, my loves, I adore you. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Mwah! Ciao, ciao.